I'm Scarlett, and I originally got involved in the campaign when I was invited with 3 other young people to be part of an open video letter to the owners of Bristol Airport, who are 3,000 miles away in Canada. And the reason I thought this would be useful was because the pension fund who owns the airport is entirely for teachers, and I thought they would be galvanised by a plea from people the same age as those they teach. And the response was amazing. There were tens of thousands of views and hundreds of sympathetic comments on the Facebook page where it was published. And then the media picked it up, and 2 of us were interviewed on radio and TV, and which meant we could broadcast the problems to a massive audience across the Southwest. And the consequence of this was an invitation to the airport to speak to one of the senior executives and a media officer. Unfortunately, John Adams had warned us not to believe everything we were told. And his brief pointed out the outrageous claim that has been mentioned about the airport going carbon neutral by 2030, which is essentially a lie, in that they're only including the buildings and not the cars or the planes, which are obviously the big contributors. And now they're trying to prove they care in moving this to 2025, but that will make a minuscule difference, and it is merely a distraction. So in the meeting with them, we challenged them on this and on many other claims, and they did not have answers. And they weren't really willing to listen to us. And what's important about this politically is that the TV reporters are still really interested in the story of teenagers challenging the airport and promised to come to the planning meeting in the autumn to film what happens. So that is partly why it is really crucial to have as many people there as possible, so that the councillors understand how widespread the opposition to expansion is. And I've learned from this several things, which are the importance of thinking very carefully about what the priorities for action are, and collaborating through alliances and not making enemies, except obviously the airport, and finding one's own part to play and doing what you're comfortable doing. And the power of the campaign being in the connections between people and between groups. Thank you.
Thank you, Scarlett. That was very informative to hear that, and great video, by the way. John, I'm going to give you this mic instead, because I think it's got less feedback than that one.
I represent the Stop Bristol Airport expansion campaign, which was born on a cold January night in Red Hill Village Hall. And to be honest, we didn't even know we were pregnant. It just kind of happened. We've run a fairly extensive website, which we try to keep up to date, and that is a source of information. So if you seek out Stop Bristol Airport expansion, there's a website and a Facebook page, and they do contain quite a lot of material, but I won't try and summarise it here. What's going on? The airport has applied to increase passenger numbers by 50% from the current round about 8.5 to 12 million people annually by 2024-25. It's already got permission to go up to 10 million people. So that's already an increase of over 1 million in its pocket without doing anything. And that's a, 16% increase, something like that. So it already has permission to expand. And a number of us feel that for a regional airport, perhaps 5 million people per annum is reasonable to serve the reasonable needs of the community. And so it's already double that without any further application. However, it wants to grow and grow and grow. That's its ambition. To 20 million people by 2040. For comparison, last year, Luton Airport. Has anybody ever been to Luton Airport? Yeah, you know what it's like, Luton Airport. Luton Airport carried 16.6 million passengers last year. So they are hot on the tail of building Luton Airport on our doorstep. What was once a regional asset has become an avaricious and damaging liability. Consequences of expansion, we know. Carbon emissions from 24,600 additional flights, and as Tanguy already said, these will outweigh all the carefully planned savings, carbon savings in the region. Emissions from traffic. an extra 9,500 cars and services daily on the A38. Anybody fancy jumping on a bicycle? Because there won't be much option. Maybe you should do it. The airport reflects a high level of complacency when it says there will only be a 16% growth in private car emissions. Well, I don't know how many people have walked on or near the A38 when it's busy. A mere 16%, well. Congestion, of course. So we know what the A38 is like. It's just going to be like this solidly. Of course, what happens when the A38 gets blocked? These are the lanes just behind my house, just above Butcombe. They have been like that on this particular occasion, a couple of months back. They were like that for 4 hours. Now, I don't know if you saw the Extinction Rebellion protest in Bristol, where people were getting very upset about being delayed for a little bit, and understandably, by the protests in Bristol. Why were those people protesting? They were protesting to stop this kind of thing happening. I walked down that lane. Those cars, there were people weeping. There were people fighting. It was quite inhuman because there was no way out. Not least because cars were being directed into that little network of lanes from both directions. You know about the illegal parking sites. Our corner of North Somerset is full of these, and every field for miles around will be similarly crammed. I can't tell you, I know some of these, the guys who are on these sites. It's a little mafia. In fact, it's a mafia, and as dangerous as that, because they will brook nothing that stops the shed loads of cash that flows into their coffers. Jill, I think, has already mentioned what happens to the Mendip, the sub-Mendip skyline when the airport starts building under permitted development. But once the airport gets its hands on something, it will go. There's a powerful man there, and the man in the chair is saying, "Why no? I don't feel any human bond between us." And I think this pretty much, I scribbled in a little thing that says North Somerset down there and Ontario Teachers Pension Plan there. Okay, now why is that relevant? Bristol Airport is wholly owned by a Canadian investment fund, the Ontario Teachers Pension Plan, and we've already, all of us, I think Jill, Hilary, we've all had dealings with them to try and put pressure on. We made a short film, which Scarlett was one of the leading members, which got, I think, nearly 100,000 viewings across Canada, and Scarlett was interviewed by a Canadian. So anyway, it's very important to get back to these people, but they are not easily swayed. They are corporate psychopaths. They have no human feeling whatsoever. Profit is the only thing. So don't think we're dealing with nice people here. And why do they want the application to go ahead? Two main reasons. First of all, they want to try and outflank all the legislation that is in the pipeline. And once the government and the international community eventually get down to action, undoubtedly the legislation will start to come through. Ontario Teachers Pension Plan want to try and preempt that if humanly possible. That's the first reason. Secondly, just to show how ruthless they are, have I got time to make the second point? Yeah. There's a very nice little bonus for them. We know very well that there is very poor public transport links to the airport. There's no railway. I mean, no railway to a major airport. Oh. There's a bus. Oh, there's the airport flyer from Western and Bristol, supplemented, of course, by a couple of other local buses, which means that Bristol Airport has the largest number of passengers travelling to the airport by private transport than virtually any other airport in the UK, or more than any other airport in the UK, and indeed Europe. And the airport, bless its cotton socks, has seen a fabulous opportunity here. If only they can plaster the greenbelt with concrete and create more car parks, then they've got a captive audience. They want those cars. They haven't got a slightest interest in public transport because the cars are by far the most profitable part of the operation. The aviation, I think, loses money. The retail outlets and so on produce money. But the goose that lays the golden egg is the parking. Anyway, I'll leave it. So much to say, but we'll leave it there.